Lainey Wilson might be the confident powerhouse leading the CMA Awards, but even she has a moment she's never forgotten: the night she told a bold lie on her very first date with Duck Hodges. It wasn't planned, and it wasn't small. It was one of those split-second decisions you make when you desperately want something to work. And somehow, that tiny lie ended up shaping the love story she's living today. So what made her say it, and how did it turn into a relationship that survived fame, touring, and the pressure of country music's biggest stage? When Lainey Wilson steps onto the CMA stage this year, she isn't just hosting, she's making history. She's only the third woman ever asked to return as a solo host, standing right beside legends like Dolly Parton and Reba McEntire. And even with all that confidence she carries on stage, Lainey admits she wasn't too proud to ask for help. She texted Reba for just one piece of advice, and Reba responded with an entire list. Lainey laughed it off, but it was a reminder of just how big the moment really is. She joked about having huge shoes to fill, but behind that smile was someone feeling the weight of the spotlight, and that softer, more personal side of her, the one fans rarely get to see, is exactly where the story of her first date with Duck Hodges begins. But what fans didn't expect was her confession about the moment she tried way too hard to impress the man she would eventually marry. Their first date back in 2021 started off simple enough. Duck Hodges telling her how he earned that unforgettable nickname during his college football days. The story was funny, confident, and full of charm, and Lainey felt it immediately. She didn't want to be the quiet one at the table, so she tried to match his energy, fast. And that's when she blurted out a lie she had never said out loud before: that people call her Goose. It wasn't true, not even a little, but it rolled out so naturally that Duck didn't question it for a second. He thought it was adorable. She later admitted the whole thing was pure fiction, a nervous attempt to keep the moment light. It was a reminder that even the biggest stars get butterflies on a first date. And sometimes the funniest parts of a relationship start with a tiny, harmless lie. But the truth is, their real test came later, when fame, touring, and long distance started pushing the relationship in ways neither expected. Away from the cameras, Lainey has always been honest about how demanding life on the road can be. Touring pulls you across states, across time zones, and sometimes away from the people who matter most. She says you have to carve out time intentionally, because if you don't, even the strongest connection can start to drift. Somehow, she and Duck made it work, and by February 2025, their bond had grown so solid that Duck finally proposed, turning years of effort, patience, and sacrifice into a moment they'd been building towards since that first date. Their relationship works because they keep things practical and balanced. Duck is frugal with almost everything except when hunting season rolls around and he loads up on gear. Lainey laughs at it, because she's the same way with guitars. She never wants him controlling her passions, and she refuses to control his. It's simple, honest, and real. And despite being engaged, they still haven't mapped out the wedding. They go back and forth on whether it should be big or small, who absolutely has to be invited, and which cousins may or may not make the final list. It's the kind of everyday conversation that reminds you they're just two people figuring things out, like everyone else, and through all the fame, pressure, and constant traveling. That one funny lie on day one ended up becoming a story they still laugh about years later. Lainey Wilson might be stepping into CMA history with the confidence of a superstar, but the heart of her story has always been much simpler. Behind the spotlight, behind the pressure of following legends like Dolly and Reba, she's still the same woman who once improvised her way through a first date just to keep a conversation alive. That tiny, harmless lie told in a moment of nerves ended up shaping a love story strong enough to survive touring, fame, long distance, and everything in between. It's a reminder that even the biggest names in country music have their awkward, human moments, and sometimes it's those small, unexpected choices that turn into stories you carry for a lifetime.